I've made a new map of the Star Citizen universe, based around how many jumps each system is from the 5 systems planned for Star Citizen 1.0. In this video, I'll give a brief history of the popular maps of Star Citizen, explain why I made this map, and discuss whether such maps have value in the scaled-back universe of Star Citizen. My name's Jael, and if you enjoy videos about lore, languages, and little details, you should subscribe to my channel. Let's start by looking at the history of the official map. The earliest map for the project that became Star Citizen was probably just the map of the Wing Commander universe. This legacy is revealed in the initial 2012 trailer for Squadron 42, which places the UEES Paul Steed, a Bengal carrier, in the Vega Sector Kurosawa system, a location that appears on the map for Chris Roberts' earliest series. However, the project quickly moved away from these routes, and we saw early hints of a true Star Citizen map in a YouTube video published in June 2013. This video is still up on the Star Citizen YouTube channel, and I have linked it in the video description. Interestingly, this map is largely complete, and familiar systems and their connections are visible, such as Vega, which shares a jump point with Virgil, which in turn links to Tiber. There are some significant differences though, as Vega then links directly to Sol, and indeed the familiar systems of Terra, Stanton and Pyro are all distributed across the map. The next big development was during the 2014 Holidays livestream, where a prototype of the Arc Starmap was shown as a project being worked on by Turbulent. The finished article was launched about 10 months later during CitizenCon 2015, and this has remained the main official map for the project. The next year, CIG also offered a print version of the map for purchase. The overall layout of this map has, as far as I can tell, remained unchanged since 2014, though the names of the Xi'an systems have mostly changed. The introduction of the Xi'an language meant that old Xi'an system names were relegated as Anglicizations, and proper Xi'an names began to be used. Not all of these names have been updated on the map though. Furthermore, the Peri Line systems that went to the Xi'an Empire during the partitioning agreed in the Peri Line Treaty had previously been labelled with their human names, but today are shown on the Arc Star Map with their Xi'an names. The Star Map remains a pretty impressive browser application even today, though I think some of its aesthetic choices are starting to show their age, and it definitely harkens back to the visual identity of the game 10 years ago rather than sitting with the clean, smooth lines of the modern branding. Furthermore, the map still shows small, medium and large jump points, a system that is slated to be removed and reworked. There are no announced plans to update the Arc Star Map, and while in-game mapping got a big update this year, the Mobiglass caps out at the system level, so we haven't seen an in-game inter-system map yet until such a thing becomes relevant. Something that is worth noting is that the official maps have always had a sense of 3 dimensions, and attempted to preserve that even in 2D representations like the printed poster. However, fans have made many diagrammatic maps that seek to show the connections between systems without this distracting 3D-ness. I'm not going to list every map that's ever been made, but here are some that I've found myself turning to over the years or that I know are very popular. All of the original creator posts are linked in the video description. Zur created this map based off the 2013 YouTube video, listing all that could be seen and speculating on some of the partially seen systems. This is worth checking out if you want to look for the differences from the modern map. This was also featured on an interactive website, but that no longer appears to be live. Mere days after the 2015 launch of the Arc Star Map, Archilele Skunkworks began releasing a series of maps with a pretty clean, readable aesthetic. These maps also divide the space into supposed regions such as the UEE Fringe for the area around Vega, or the UEE Frontier for the area around Nemo and Coral. I recall these maps being very popular from 2015 through to about 2017-2018. Also, at the same time, less than 2 weeks after the CitizenCon launch of the Arc Star Map, Reddit user Zat released this flattened version. This retains the mostly organic layout of the Arc Star Map, but lays it out in perhaps a more readable form. While certainly not the most elegant, I recall this being the earliest 2D map I saw, so it holds a special place in my heart, and I also really appreciate it only focusing on the jump points and not anything else to do with, say, the number of planets in a system. By far, the most significant fan-made map is Selby's 2017 Galactic Transit map, which was based on psychologist Maxwell Roberts' theories of cartography, centering the verse around 2 wheel and spoke nexuses, one named for Sol and one named for Terra. This map is the de facto main map for most fans, and is often mistaken for an official map. It provides an essentially perfect balance of readability and information, and while it is imposing an interpretation upon the network, it's an interpretation that really makes use of what is there in the network. It's interesting to note that there is actually a mistake in the map though. The jump point from Bacchus to Garon is missing, and this error is actually present in one of Archilele's maps as well, suggesting that it's an error which originates with Archilele that has been carried forward by Selby. The last fan map I want to highlight is this map by Pochan, released in 2021. This includes information about how many planets there are and the radii of the star systems as reported on the Starmap. When I asked around, a few of my friends said that this was their favourite map, and I think it does do a really good job of putting a lot of information in without becoming cluttered. That brings me to my own forays into star system cartography. My first map was a visual joke. I superimposed the large and medium jump points onto a map of the London Underground, and I'm still pretty proud of the result. But my first real map was produced back in February this year. I decided to make a wheel and spoke map with Terra at the centre and frame it as an in-lore Terran jump point map that is deliberately disrespectful to the Sol system. At the time, I was predicting that the CIG was going to drop the idea of large, medium and small jump points, so I made a version without these sizings on as well, a prediction that seems now to be correct. My new map, releasing alongside this video, takes a very similar approach to this map. Instead of Terra at the centre, I've organised the map around the 5 systems planned for Star System 1.0 release, and positioned all other systems in concentric rings based on how many jumps they are from those playable systems. This creates some interesting structure and reveals that of the 78 systems in the network, more than 2/3 lie within 3 jumps of the Star System 1.0 systems. Jump point sizes are not shown, as I believe these are no longer a relevant consideration. I think it's also worth discussing whether such a network map has any real value when the game is only targeting 5 systems on release, with no promise that we'll ever see more. My answer to this is yes, for 2 reasons. Firstly, while the intention for Star System 1.0 is only to achieve those 5 systems, we do anticipate seeing more at some point in the distant future. And if they intend to stick to the current network map, this at least gives us some idea of likely candidates for the next steps. It does break my heart a little that my favourite system of Raytor is all the way out in Ring 5. Of course, the network map could be changed in order to give a connection to a completely different system for narrative or gameplay reasons. If they want us to visit Sol in Star System 1.1, then we're probably going to get a jump point to Sol somewhere. A lot of these connections have nothing more than a single mention in lore and could be retconned, or of course there's already ample lore about jump points opening and closing, which allows for any manner of modifications without any knock-on historical effects, giving more work to the narrative team. The other perhaps more important aspect of why I think maps like this are still useful is context beyond the play space. These environments are meant to be shaped by a universe that extends beyond what we see in both space and in history, and this map highlights systems based on that spatial proximity. This proximity is why Castra is getting a Xi'an-themed influence. Virgil's connections to Nyx are likely to be very significant to the gameplay in that system, and it remains to be seen whether Nyx's connections to Odin, Bremen and Tohill also have some visible impact on gameplay in that system. And of course, with Squadron 42 visiting at least Vega and Odin, it's nice to understand those systems in context to their proximity to the Star System play space. What do you think about this map and others? Do you have a favourite map that I've not mentioned? Let me know in the comments, and please consider liking and subscribing if you'd like to see more videos like this. I've been Jael, and thanks for watching.